Hickok 45. What do you think about this baby? A Galil. This is known as a fine rifle by most people who know firearms. This happens to be the 308 version, the 7.62 by 51, which is a beast. If you don't know, the Galil has been around for a while, since I guess in the early 70s. It was developed in the late 60s, early 70s, and then adopted by Israel, the IDF, in the I think the early 70s, then used up through the early 90s. And it was their standard issue rifle, mostly in 5.56, but they also made it in 7.62, 308, and that's what this baby is, okay? Thanks to Tennessee Gun Country up in Clarksville, lent us this firearm. Okay, so what do we have? Actually, I used to own one of these things, believe it or not. In the 80s, when I first moved here and bought this place, I picked one of those up. I guess it was after I moved here, briefly after I moved here. I had it for a couple, 3-4 years, and let it go. After I think it was after the crime bill craziness, and it started shooting up in price, and somebody talked me out of it. You know, and I had my fun with it and shot it and everything. And having this around today makes me miss it, because I really forgot what a great rifle that it was. And there's a bee trying to get us again. I remember the other video where he was doing that on the microphone. But this thing is a gorgeous rifle, and you can tell probably already it's patterned after the AK, which right away tells you it might be decent, right? But I had one, and it just got away from me. But this thing is smooth. I have enjoyed firing it, and we're going to fire it some more. Why don't we just take a couple shots with it, okay? You think I need to leave the bipod open? Probably not. All right. We got a loaded magazine. Now we have a loaded chamber. Let's just go on over there and pop a red plate. Sweet, feels good. Let me try the middle one. Hit it so hard, knocked it off. Try the other one over there. Wow. Maybe I'll try the little one, the smallest one. Oh boy, it's a shooter. So let's try something easier here, like a 2-liter. Easier. You know, I lost the sight actually. Again, if it were mine, I'd probably do a little painting, just like the AK. Flip up the safety there. Pretty cool. You might see a few drops of rain up here on it. It's trying to sprinkle a little bit. Maybe it might be good. It'll keep it cool. Oh, I know what let's do. Let's shoot that paper before it gets wet. Let's put a couple on the barrel. Oh man. Woo, this thing is hot. Another 2-liter. Let's smoke some pot right away here while it's still dry. It didn't present me much of a target, or I could have shot it before it hit the ground. Let's take a look at this firearm. Okay, it's about empty. Not quite. All right. So much like an AK, isn't it? Like I say, this was the Israeli firearm, the IDF in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. They had used the FN, and they were having some problems with the FN, getting sand in it, and so they had some experience in various battles and wars actually with the AK, against the AK. And they got to mess around looking at it, and kind of wished they had something that was more like an AK, that reliable. We all know it's famous for that. So what they did was, specifically a fellow named Galil, had some help, came up with a better version, really, in a lot of ways, of the AK. So they took the AK and tried to make it even more accurate and more reliable and softer shooting. This thing doesn't feel like a it doesn't feel like a, what am I trying to say, like a 308. It really doesn't. They modified the gas system a little bit, and I think I'd need to have a physics degree to fully understand what I've read about that, but they modified it just a little bit, and of course it's got some weight, so you really don't get a bunch of punch. It does feel almost more like a 7.62 by 39 that you're shooting. It really doesn't feel all that different from shooting my Arsenal AK. But just to prove it to you that it is an AK, now we are clear, or it's kind of an AK variant. And this, I understand, this lug, they extended that just to make that more sturdy, because your sight is right there. You get your flip-up sights for, I think, 300 and 600 meters. You got a flip-up tritium sight there and in the front. How cool is that? So let me see if I can not be too fumble-fingered. Take it apart. Yeah. How's that look? Does that look like an AK to you? It does, doesn't it? Pretty familiar look. Get that out. And gas piston and bolt and everything. That's pretty much AK, except for this flange here, you know, behind the head there, the piston. That, now, as I understand, I've read that was to help stabilize that, so it's not quite as sloppy, but it's also to keep gas from building up in there. It gives it a relief too. So I'm not sure what all it does exactly, but that is one difference for you folks that have seen AK pistons and everything. That's a little bit different there. I can see how it would stabilize it a little bit. But you know, it's pretty much AK. And AK. Interesting here, you don't have the lever, and the gas tube just slides back, comes out, slides there, and the little mortises, pretty cool. And right back in. It's just really feels like a precision instrument. There's no doubt about it. I remember mine, you know, just being impressed with it. And actually, I probably know a little bit more. And I've had more experience with firearms since then, since the 80s, with a lot of different firearms. So in a lot of ways, I can appreciate the quality of it better now. I've had several AKs and you know, firearms like this. So I do have a better appreciation for it, I'll have to say, and I probably would not have sold it now that I know what I know. Because at that time, I didn't know what I didn't know. You know, get right down to it. Okay, so pretty cool. Quite a battle rifle. Oh man, this thing is nice. Now this is the of the Galil. They had several different versions of it. They had the standard rifle. They had a carbine. They had even a shorter carbine, and then they had this is considered the light machine gun. Now this is not a machine gun. It's semi-auto, but in the the select fire version, it was fully auto if you wanted it, and that was one reason they tinkered around, I think, with that gas system, tried to improve it some, so that in full auto fire, you could handle it better. And so another reason for the wooden forend there would keep the heat away from your hand better, and seems to work. I have fired it quite a bit, and it doesn't get your hand warm at all. It's pretty good. It's got a great folding stock. You push down on it, which breaks it. I like that. It's really solid. And then you just pull out on it and it will come back. Okay, so really nice. I remembered that being the best folding stock I'd ever seen at the time, and maybe since then even. So that is cool. Now it also has the bipod is pretty cool, and John and I have been shooting it, messing with it. It's a bipod that's just really works. It's loose, just enough loose, and it's easy to get on. When I first tested to see if it was sighted in, I just thought, wow, that is a nice bipod. And it was sighted in. No doubt about it. The owner has a lot of these kinds of things, and I figured the sights would be right on, and they are. But I like that bipod. It looks a little thin, but it works. It's great. You also have, I'll show you a couple things here before we fire it. The bipod also serves as a wire cutter. I read somewhere that in just traveling through some of the rural areas, they needed something like this just to cut fence wire and that kind of thing, and so you got a built-in wire cutter. So look at this. As you close it, it cuts that wire. How's that for cool? So I thought I'd demonstrate that in case you thought I was kidding. And something else, that's not a bottle of beer on the table there. We would never do that. It has a built-in bottle opener and it's not accidental. Now I've read 2 or 3 different reports of it. This is root beer. Hopefully you can understand English if you're in another country. Root beer, not beer. Happen to have 1 bottle of this. But it has a bottle opener. Let's see if it works. Now you know what's going to happen. It's probably going to go everywhere. Let me hold it out over here. See if it works. There we go. It's a little warm, but it's root beer. Okay, root beer, everybody. Okay. Somebody in some foreign country is probably thinking, what's he say? He's rooting for beer? Yeah, on the shooting table. Now, that's not as gimmicky as it sounds. I read that that one of the reasons for that was that, you know, in Israel you have a lot of people in the civilian reservist forces, or whatever they call them, just a lot of people with these firearms. Not many probably with the 308 version, 5.56 more likely, you know, most people would have and use. But they ran into an issue. There's a real world issue problem with the Uzis and other guns, with people using the magazines to open the bottle. You know, the magazine lips. And I can just see that. I haven't tried it, but I can just envision an Uzi magazine, the lips, you know, fitting about around a bottle like that, and being something that would work. But they would bend the lips on the magazines, and then the magazines wouldn't be reliable. And so over time, you'd have a lot of the magazines ruined, you know. So actually, that was intentional for that reason. It's not a joke or even an afterthought. So anyway, that's pretty interesting, I thought. And you got your bolt turned up here like that. That's pretty cool because you can grab it from either side a little bit easier, you know. And it's just a really cool gun. One thing's interesting, it reminds me of my Arsenal AK. When it's, let's say I'm hot and ready to go, and I got my safety on. That's one of the awkward things about an AK style, you know, safety a little bit. Well, it operates over here by the thumb, and that's where Arsenal got that idea, I guess, of course. So you just push forward, push it right down, and you're ready to fire. So it'd be a great carry gun. Well, you know what I mean, not concealed carry, but you can have the safety on, and you know, as you're moving through the forest or wherever you are, then it would just be a simple push of the thumb. You're on safe, but push that down, boom. Yeah, I like that. The Galil 308. So this was what they used up until the early 90s to mid 90s. Then they went to the M4, M16, I believe, and now I guess the Tavor. So I'm not an expert on the military history over there. This is imported by Action Arms. It's an old one, I guess pre-ban. This is made by IMI, you know, got right on the side, not IWI, which is IWI now. But so these were, again, available back in the 80s, you know, and I guess late 70s, well, the 70s and in the 80s. And can't believe I had one, let it go. Pretty cool gun. Let's shoot the thing a little bit more. Okay, magazines, they're kind of a straight affair for the 308, but they rock in like an AK, like you'd expect, and lock in the same way. All right, so what we got here that hadn't been addressed? Safety off. Now what I do? You know, I didn't get that mag in all the way or something. Let me check. It didn't. Yeah, I didn't get it locked in properly. Like I said, it's been a while since I've had one. Oh, yeah, and look what I did there. I pushed that bullet down. So again, whenever you see that, you don't want to fire that, because when the bullet, that's called bullet setback, it could happen for a variety of reasons, handguns or rifles, or messing around like that, not having the magazine locked in properly or something. You know, it increases the pressure exponentially in that case. So I don't know that that would have blown up or anything, but it does increase pressure a great deal. So we'll lay that aside, and I'll just let John shoot that one. Funny, huh? All right, let me see now. What was I doing wrong? It hooked in there properly. Well, felt like the same thing I did before. I guess one thing I might have done when I didn't have the safety off, I messed with it there, did something. All right, 2 liter watermelon 1. I'm gonna save this guy. I'm gonna go over there and shoot something again. There's a little bit of cinder block. I can't really see it, but maybe I can hit it. There it is. Interesting. The dust actually gives me a better silhouette of it. The floating dust. It's a hot round. You can't shoot anything else with it. Can't shoot animals or over there. It's hard, just like a 308. It's very hard. Let's put a couple in that barrel. An empty box jumped out of there. I might just go ahead and pop this watermelon. Or should we not shoot it? I know it. Let's shoot these two 12 ounces first. Yeah. All right. Butterfly, bring it out of the way. Here we go, watermelon. Oh, man. Woo! That did the job. I'm going back over there. I know what let's do before we're out of ammo. Let's put the tripod on. Let's see if the tripod works. All right. Pop the safety off. Okay. Hey, the tripod works. Nice. Nice. Click. Now the bolt doesn't stay back like typical on an AK, and that's intentional, really, because it helps keep dirt out. So that's one of the reasons they make them that way. I think there was some other lie I was going to tell you about that bipod. Did I call it a tripod? Well, I never did know much the difference between 2 and 3, but nothing like an AK anyway. They just feel great. Yeah, I like that bipod. It's not gigantic and heavy and in the way, and for something that doesn't have great lines, you know, like a M1A or a Garand, you know, this thing looks pretty busy. But considering that, it's actually a pretty convenient rifle, and it's got some weight, but it's not like picking up a BAR or anything like that. And if you do think it's kind of heavy, one thing you can do, I carried it over to the chapter 2 range earlier today, and you can just pick it up by the handle and take off. So that's pretty cool, especially if the barrel's really hot. So it's a neat rifle. It's really a piece of history, the Galil is. I don't think you find many people that don't have a lot of respect for the Galil. Again, most of them you encounter, I guess, would be 5.56, but it is highly respected and always has been, as far as I know. And I remember back in the 70s and 80s, you know, when I bought one of these, the 5.56s were readily available. They were around. I just still feel kind of the same way. If I'm going to have a 5.56, I just seem to have an AR rather than a pretty heavy, big rifle, you know, chambered in that. And now they are making this now. I think, in fact, it just came out, at least available in this country in recent months, the Ace, and it's supposed to be a pretty nice rifle. It's an updated, modernized version of this. Okay, and I don't know a lot about it. I don't know if it's something I'd be interested in or not, but there is a newer version, you know, kind of this rifle. Okay, but man, this thing is cool. It's just it is quite a piece of hardware. Everything about it screams quality. Like that. Let me get the mag out. Push right there. A little longer flange on the right side. So sorry, lefties, on that. So I really do like the way you just push down on that thing. and then takes a little bit of force, but it breaks back open, locks up really tight. So that is it. The AK has shown up. There's so many variants. This was patterned. I think they looked hard at the was it the finish? I guess the RK62. I think I'm not familiar with that that rifle. I believe it was their service rifle, and in fact used I think the receiver for some of the prototypes. But you know the Finnish people make some really nice firearms as well. So I can see. In fact, that's another gun I had. I had a Valmet. I had a Valmet for a while living here, so it was in the 80s, late 80s, M78, M72, I forget the model number of it. It was a big old rifle. I think it was bigger than this. Had a carry handle, 308. So there have been some big battle rifles out there, and some really high quality ones. That one was. So they borrowed obviously from that, the AK, and create a really nice rifle. And they're not many of them around. They're expensive. This thing is worth $3,000 or $4,000 probably. They haven't imported any for a couple of decades, and there won't be, I guess, any more coming in. So hard to find, expensive, high quality, but you know, there you go. In a 308, that's probably one of the best 308s that's ever been made, would be my guess. So I can't think of anything I forgot to tell you because I don't know much, but it's a cool rifle. Life is good. Oh, well, since I'm still here, let me take this moment to thank SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute, for their support of the channel. We appreciate their help. SDI is a place where you can get certified in gunsmithing. You can even get an associate's degree in firearms technology and work in various areas of the firearms field. Might be appealing to you. They work a lot with veterans, and just a pretty cool place. So check out the link, sdi.edu. The link is in the description of most videos, almost all videos for the last 6 months or more. So check that out. Also, while I have you, since I'm still here, be sure to check the links in all the descriptions, because we're on Full 30 now also with all the videos. So there's a link in the descriptions to Full 30, as well as, of course, our sponsors, SDI, ButtsGunShop.com, Federal Premium. So all the good information is there, as well as keep in mind that on Hickok 45 and Son, we have quite a few videos over there. John's doing the Gun Culture Radio Show over there. Check it out if you haven't done that yet. Our Facebook page, the Hickok 45 Facebook, the Hickok 45 and Son Facebook page. That's where we try to stay in touch with you and give you a little extra information. Even post pictures and a little video occasionally, just whatever. Mainly just a way to keep up with you all and provide some more information. We're not really Facebookers, but it's a pretty good system for that, even though most of us are not in love with Facebook, right? So check all that out, and you really had better check it out, because I might just have to come to your house and have a chat with you if you don't. And I expect to have coffee and donuts ready when I get there. All right.